So let's talk about setting up EFS, or the encrypting file system, and file compression on an NTFS folder. And both of these are really straightforward, so we'll go ahead and do it just in one video here. So I'm going to start by opening up File Explorer. There we go. And go to this PC, and I'm going to go to my C drive. And I'm going to create a couple of new folders here. So the first one, I'm going to call it Secured. And that's going to be our encrypted folder. And I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it, whoops, hit the right thing here, new folder. And we're going to call this one Archive. All right, I want to use EFS encryption on the secured folder. So I'm going to right click on my on my folder. I'm going to go to Properties. And in Properties, on my general page here, under Attributes, I have Advanced Attributes. So I'm going to click that, and I've got two options: compress contents to save space, and encrypt contents to secure data. Now you'll notice when I click on one, the other one goes away. I can do one or the other, but not both. Well, this is my secured folder, so I'm going to encrypt contents to secure data. And I'm going to click OK, Apply, and OK. Now, here's my file encryption key. My file encryption key immediately comes up, and I want to make sure that I back up that file encryption key. So when I click on it, it gives me the option to back up now, back up later, or never back up. Now, couple of things here. Your file encryption key is tied to your password. So if you change your password, it will update your file encryption key, and it'll be just fine. It'll continue to work. However, if you lose your password and an administrator comes in and changes your password for you, it won't update the file encryption key, which means you will lose access to all of your encrypted files. Now, at an organizational level, you can create key recovery agents, and you have some other recovery options like that. But if you don't have those options, you need to make sure to back up this certificate. And you can just click Backup Now, and it'll walk you through exporting the certificate. And it's pretty straightforward. You can encrypt it with a password. Go ahead and set one here. Encrypt with a password. Make sure you don't forget the password. And then I'm going to put this, and I'm going to be lazy and put this on my desktop. And I'm going to call it EFS underscore key. EFS stands for the encrypting file system. And next, and finish. And the export was successful. So now I can use that if I ever lose access to my encrypted file keys. I can use that to get it back. Now, obviously, you don't want to stave this on your desktop. You want to put it somewhere safe and sound, but that's how you go through the process of doing it. Now, how does this work? When I come into the secured folder, I'm going to create a new file here real quick, and we're just going to do a text document. And we're going to call it safe file. Now, this is going to be encrypted, and it's encrypted and secured for just me. So nobody else, even if they gain access to the system, if they log in under any password, username and password other than mine, they can't access these files. Now, they can put a file in here, and it will be encrypted for them, and I don't have access to that file. So even if I go into security permissions and give someone access to it, they still can't get it unless I give them access by adding their key to the file. So it is fairly secured. Now, you'll notice here that it doesn't identify that this is secured for me at all. What I can actually, we're going to come back to that in a little bit. Let's deal with our archive first. I'm going to right click on my archive folder, and I'm going to go to Properties, so same spot, we were just here, Advanced Attributes, Compress Contents to save space, and hit OK. And what that's going to do is any file that I put in here will automatically be compressed. Now this actually identifies the icon for me. It's basically the same thing as creating a compressed or a zipped folder, except that anytime I save something there, it will automatically compress. When I go to open something from there, it automatically uncompresses. It takes a little bit longer to save and open files from a location that has archived folders, but not very long. In fact, when I have done it for people, they have never actually noticed. It doesn't take a whole lot longer, not enough that most people are going to pick up on it. Now, the other thing here is the secured folder doesn't really tell me that it's secured. And by the way, it doesn't keep somebody from going into the folder. Somebody else could go into the folder, see all my files. If they try to open the file, that's when they get the error. This one does change the icon a little bit. Now, older versions of Windows would actually color code these encrypted and secured or compressed folders. If you go to View and your options on your menu, and then under View, you have an option. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. There we go. Show encrypted or compressed NTFS files in color. Hit apply, OK, and that actually colorizes it for you. So anything that is EFS encrypted is green, anything that is compressed is blue. That is not a default in Windows 10. You just saw how we can go in and set it. That's going to be purely optional. It'll work without it, obviously. But if you want a quick way of looking to see if something is encrypted or compressed, that's the easy way to do it. Okay, that's how we set up folder level encryption and compression. Now, also be aware, you can encrypt an entire drive using BitLocker. It's going to be a subject for another time. And when you create a volume, you can choose to compress the entire volume. That operates the exact same way that this does. It's just that it happens on the entire volume and not just on the individual folder. Same process. When you go to create the volume, just select enable compression on this volume. Alternatively, let me come back to the C drive. Go to right click, properties on C drive. Here, you can come back and compress later. So if you click compress this drive to save disk space, it will compress everything on this volume rather than doing it on a folder by folder basis. And that does the same thing as if you did it when you were creating the volume initially. Okay, there we go. That is encryption and compression on NTFS volumes. Last thing, be aware that this works with NTFS volumes. It doesn't work with FAT volumes, file allocation table volumes. So if you go to a drive and you don't have that option, double check your format. There's a good chance that it's running FAT rather than NTFS.